All right, good evening, class. Welcome to virtual class number two. Hope these are actually beneficial to you as much as I'm trying to make everything as clear and simple as possible, considering we have people of all different ability types for these different projects, different assignments, different things that we have going on. For this particular class, I do want to try to go over some of the presentation software we already had a review on how to use and how to manage the different features on Google Slides. Like I said, that's the one I'm most likely going to be leaning towards for you guys to use. But as I mentioned earlier, for your presentations that you're going to be end up doing, that you're going to end up doing in about 3 weeks, uh, I wouldn't mind if you guys decide to go in a different direction and use another software, another program, whatever it is. Um, let your creativity be part of that. Remember, the constraint is that you're going to have 5 minutes. The only reason I'm not letting you guys go any longer is because we have too many people in class, and I do want everybody to present. I'm going to most likely split it up between two classes um, because we only have a limited amount of time anyway. But with all that being said, let's see what other presentation softwares, at least the ones that I'm familiar with. If you find something completely different that works for you, by all means, go ahead and use it. Introduce me. I am willing to learn and be taught about a different software if that's what you want to do. Um, but for right now, I want to go over the ones that I've used before. One of the ones that early on, back in middle school, that a lot of us really liked whenever a teacher would do this instead of using PowerPoint or Google Slides was this one called Prezi. Now, Prezi is one that is known for shifting things around on screen. That's its main calling card, is that you have this one really big picture and then it zooms in and out of different aspects of, you know, of the presentation. You used to have one. I'm about to show you. Let me actually pull it up here. Um, this is Prezi. This is the. By the way, all the ones that I show you are free because I do not pay for those softwares. There are pro versions and there are some other programs online that are paid for. I recommend not doing that because what you can get out of the free versions is more than enough of what you need to get things done. Now, um, Prezi, like I said, is an interesting one because this is what it's going to be. This is an old copy of an English one that I had for years, and this is for a report on Dante's Inferno. This is a very old literature book, not canonically biblical at all, but very much part of lore, if you will, of the Catholic belief of how hell works. Now, there's no real biblical backing for it, but they still approved it as an approved reading for their religion. All that being said, we read it in English class and we had to do a presentation on it, uh, and we had to do a presentation on the 9 circles of hell. I'm just going to go through it to show you the different aspects of this project, of how these presentations work. Okay, so you start off, you get in, you see the edit button at the top. That's fine. Blah blah blah. You're all full screen. That's great to see. And then, okay, here's what you do. Here we go. This is your big picture type stuff that I'm talking about. You're going to zoom in and out. Um, and it's very eye-catching the way it does it because it does it in a way that other presentations don't really do. There's other imitators, but Prezi's really, this is their calling card. Like I said, this is what they're known for. So you click in and out. Okay, you say, all right, next slide, let's go. All right, level 1 is the vegetable, and not vegetable, a vestibule. And you're supposed to go, okay, and then it jumps in and gives you the information that you have. It's already on there. You're zooming in and out, jumping around, spinning, twisting, turning, flying through whatever image or whatever setup you have. Some people have done pathways. Some people have done different parts of a document. This one's just like a general random path that goes through. But you can see how it moves, it shifts, it twists and turns, it has information about the different things that you go through. um, and then based on the recommendations and everything that we had for this thing. There were different examples that he had to be where who in popular culture would end up in each of these different levels. Then the next one is limbo. Um, People are the virtuous pagans. They're people who are least sinful and closest to God, blah, 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 whatever. Um, Again, I don't recommend reading this book for anything other than morbid curiosity. There's nothing really too fruitful about it. But the presentation is what I want you to pay attention to. Again, twisting, turning, moving around. You can add images. You see how it flies in and out, how it gives you a big picture and everything. And with all of that, you end up, okay, you make a visually interesting type of, you make a visually interesting type of whatever. And I'm going to stop it there because we don't really need to go any further for this. A visually interesting presentation that catches a lot of people's attention. The problem that exists with that is that, honestly, it does make some people nauseous. And not only that, what I said earlier during class about transitions and everything, this is basically one giant transition. One giant transition style throughout the entirety of your thing. You don't have quick snapping presentations. I would never use a Prezi for anything in a timed situation unless I really knew what I was doing and I practiced the presentation beforehand. But in general, for a group of people, it's visually eye-catching enough for it to, for it to work, and it's fine. It again, for information, for general stuff, it's very interesting to look at. It keeps people's attention automatically because you're like, which way is it going to move? What way is it going to jump around, turn, fly through the air? What path did they figure out and everything? It's a bunch of stuff like that. So it's very interesting, very visually stimulating, but it can be very, very, very distracting and even very disorienting for a lot of different people. Like twisting and turning. Some people do get headaches, and like I said, some people have had nausea in my classrooms when other people would use a Prezi. But it's a very nice, visually appealing way to do it, but it's a lot. And not only that, you have to build this thing from the ground up. Sometimes you get a template and it's really hard to adjust what's on there without changing too much. You're kind of stuck with whatever the template gives you, and then you go from there. Not a lot of customization. Another one that I use, I like barely used it, but I used it for some of my bigger projects. I used it for one of my hypothesis presentations for my class, for two of my hypothesis presentations, and then one World History AP Latin American Study focus class. See, this is another kind of imitation around the type of stuff that we do. This one also flies around, but it's not as smooth. It's kind of different. I don't know if you can tell. There's extra stuff on the edges. Those are just basically there because you don't pay for premium. If it was premium, you can do a bunch of different stuff to move things around, but it's almost like it's a newspaper, and that's what I was going for. It's a newspaper telling the story of this person, Augusto Sandino, Cesar Augusto Sandino, who was a revolutionary in old-time Nicaragua. He was the person of interest that I was presenting. But you see how this thing, flies around, moves around, goes in and out. All the information's all there, but you end up like just dealing with a whole bunch of stuff going around. Not as visually disorienting, not as smooth or snappy as a Prezi, but gets the job done. And then other ones that you can do here. This was a presentation about music technology. I don't know, having a class about technology education and then also having a class about music literature and writing it, I think is very cathartic, considering I studied that for a year. I studied the use of technology in the space of music for years, specifically because music is so antiquated, like I said before, but then technology can be so beneficial. But there's such an off-putting, at least in the world of academic music, there's such a hesitation to use anything over technological or to change the way things have been done in the music theory world. Topic for another day, but point is, my whole research project, this is one of those other research projects. I did that research project class for 2 years in a row. This is my second one. My first one was church architecture. This one was the second one, music and everything. A lot simpler. You've heard the phrase "less is more." I wholeheartedly believe that. Um, it does what it needs to do, and it gets it done in a pretty general way that's somewhat visually appealing, but doesn't do too much to disorient anyone. They just move along, getting things going through. Um, a whole bunch of stuff that just goes together. Technology and music classes, different technological things. These are a whole bunch of different things that some of them don't even exist. That's why the images aren't there. Some of them just haven't been updated. Online music educators programs, Sibelius, benefits, blah, 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 how I collected data for a project of the things that I've done, final product, Board of Ed, whatever. And then, obviously just one big slide to kind of cut through the mundaneness and start shifting into a different tone. Video at the end, unavailable. You can integrate videos into your presentations if you have that type of time. But again, very simple. Another program that you can use. For this one, the free stuff is very, very limited. You only get 5 projects for free on this one. Now, if you don't plan on doing a bunch of presentations, maybe that's all you need, and you like the interface on this one, perfectly fine. But if I go back to a Prezi, I actually want to show you the editing things that you have to go through. And let me see if I can open this up, or open up one of the ones that I've worked on before. This one here. So this is what you do when you have to edit things on a program like Prezi or on a program like Emacs. Their interface, the way everything works. See, this is your timeline that you're used to, but you have to build that. See, this is your big picture. Your presentation will start from here. Okay. It's very, very, just a whole lot of technical work. Reason I don't recommend it right off the bat is because it's a whole lot to jump into. You can, put your information in. It's very different than any other ones that I work with because of the nature of it. Look, you have 55 spots, 63 spots of destinations that you have to work at because of how involved it is. That's very difficult to work with. Now, this one took a lot of work, but it's very hard to work with. Emails, again, it's almost the same thing. You have to build the slides almost from scratch. You do get templates, you do get this, that, and the other, and it does a bit of help, but some of them are really hard. This one's a lot easier to work with than Prezi, though, I'll say that much. Some of the other things that you should be aware of, obviously, one of the big ones that some of you might just have floating around is where's that thing? Is PowerPoint. This one is from Microsoft. It's the most famous one. It's the oldest one. You don't need internet to run it. If you're familiar with editing tools, look, here's all your formatting stuff. This is the grandfather of all presentations. This is how it works. And they have been updating it over time. It used to be very simplified. It used to be very have bare bones. They didn't have a lot to work with. You have your themes and everything that you can look at and make work and all that, and all these different things. But really, it used to be very, very just kind of regular. Now they have designer tools that can really add a lot of different stuff to it. But if you're making a presentation for something, this is the simplest one to use, I think, that does not require internet to build. This is really the only one that I would trust that doesn't require internet to build, because it's such a very versatile formatting thing that you can use. Not just the way that you format whatever's on a slide, but the way that you can use it in different contexts. A lot of programs, church presentation software, like the one we use at our church is called ProPresenter. Other live presentation software for screens and different event spaces will use PowerPoints, upload them, and then encode them into their presentation software. It's a very, very useful tool, and it should be known how to use it. Obviously, you have the rest of the stuff here. Home is where you're going to find most of your basic stuff. Do I need to add a title or anything? Um, Inserts, you can put in tables, pictures, screenshots, albums. You can put shapes of different things. You can put 3D models. There's a spot for video. Yeah, video and audio, screen recording, um, drawing tools if you ever need anything like that. The design, obviously, transitions. Let me pull up the other one for that because I want to show you. This is one that I've completed. Another special event service page that I want that I've done for different things. I want to show you how the transitions work here because in a lot of them, man, what I used to love doing is putting a transition on a slide and just seeing how they all work. This is fade in, this is a push, wipe, blah, 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 split, reveal. Obviously, they take different time. Random bars, a shape, and you can even affect options. You can make it a diamond, plus sign, cover, uncover, keep going. There's flash, sorry about that. Fall over. There's drape. Curtains that take forever to move out of the way. Wind blowing the city. I mean, there's this one. PowerPoint's always been known, at least for me, for having the most interesting transitions between slides that you could have. Proceed, pulling away, fracture, crush it out of the way, peel off, page curl, paper airplane, origami. That thing flies away. Where are some of the other ones? Dissolve, crossbar, or checkerboard, blinds, clock, ripple. With the clock, you can affect it with how many spokes are counterclockwise and wedge, ripple, honeycomb, glitter, vortex, which I always thought was pretty cool, shred, and you can do that in different spots, particles out. Well, you can do a whole bunch of stuff, flip, gallery, just go straight down. There's even more. There's the cube, there's the comb, there's the panning up, there's a conveyor. Some of these are very simple. Rotation, window, orbit. You can do a lot of different things with these. Point is, and then also if you want to apply all of them to something here, transitions again. Let's say, oh, you want every single slide to have vortex. You can just press apply to all, and then all of them will have that transition. If you want to make it quicker, because it takes way too long, see here the duration is 4 seconds. Let's make it 0.5. And apply to all. So now when you're doing that, it's going to go, let's see, from left, from right, from top to bottom. So there's a bunch of options within options, even like from top. Yeah, you can move it around. Whole lot of different things you can do. So if I were to start this and I'm okay, let's say I'm going through here. Whoa. Hold on here. Let me see here. So if I were to start this for you guys and I go with that, that's not really working. Sorry about that. Point is, you can make a lot of adjustments. It's very usable. Now, I'll say Google Slides is user-friendly because there's a lot less options. There's a lot less to mess up on. This one is a lot more versatile and a lot more usable in terms of if you don't even have internet, you can still do this. Now, you can link it to internet, different things like that. But, just keeping everything together, this is something you want to do. Last thing I want to mention, just last few seconds we have for this class, is a lot of these presentation softwares, Google Slides has it as well. You can record, you can pre-record something. And what that allows you to do is it allows you, if you need a very timed environment, you can time yourself and see how long it takes. And you can keep this thing running so that it clicks itself and that it does what it needs to do without you having to touch it at all, without you even having to mess with a clicker. So just something to keep in mind. And just all of these are just to show you you have options. You have a bunch of options that you're able to use to make different things. In the next class, what I want to focus on is how creative can we be with designing your own slides? What resources exist for you to be able to uh, go beyond just the general stuff, just what already comes in the included packages on these different softwares and on these different programs, and how you can make different things either interactive and um, very attention grabbing in your presentations. But we'll go over that in the next class. So, but for right now, you're going to have an assignment that is going to ask you to list different pros and cons of different online softwares that you know. You can do Google Slides as one of them. You can do PowerPoint as another one, and you can use one of these as the third one. You're only really going to do pros and cons of the three of them. If you have a different one in mind, like I said, I'm all ears. You guys can find something else on your own that you feel is comfortable working. I would prefer if you don't have to pay money for any of these other programs. So if you can avoid that at all, that'd be pretty cool. But again, up to you. I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do that. But this is just to get the creative juices flowing and trying to think about, okay, what program do I think would work best for me and for my presentation? But other than that, that should be everything you need for this class. I will see you guys on the next one.